Welcome to In the Community. I'm Sherry Swensk, and I've got a great guest with us today, especially during the holiday season when the season can be such a beautiful time, but it can also be such a season of waste when all the gifts are wrapped and all the cardboard boxes have brought all those great presents for us during the holiday. With me today, I've got UNLV Sustainability Coordinator and Recycling Manager Tara Pike. Welcome, Tara. It's so good to see you. I feel like I've grown up along with you through recycling here in Las Vegas.
I know. Thank you for having me. That's because we have grown up together here in Vegas, talking about recycling. Oh, yeah, it's the truth.
You have built quite a program at UNLV, the Rebel Recycling Program. When I arrived in 1994, it hadn't started yet, but it started soon after. And congratulations on your 30 years of Rebel Recycling at UNLV. You have done a yeoman's job, or should I say a yo woman's job, raising awareness and building this program, not only at the university and the campus, but also for the public at large, and the things that you have brought to help raise the awareness and the recycling efforts for Southern Nevada. So, congratulations, quite a feat, and you deserve a huge, huge props for all that you've built and brought to us. So, I want to talk about from the beginning because if people may not realize your story, and I think your story is so fascinating. Let's go back to 1995 when you were a senior at UNLV and you brought this idea, your student thesis of sustainability and bringing a recycling program to the campus of UNLV. Sustainability must be in your blood. I think you must be born with it, but talk about it. Was it cool? Was it hip? Was it just such an unknown that you felt Southern Nevada and Las Vegas needed? Talk about that thesis that you brought to UNLV and how Rebel Recycling was born.
I can't believe it's been that long. I don't know how got so involved in environmental issues, but when I started here at UNLV, I started a student group called Students Conscious of Protecting the Environment. And we were focusing on campus ecology. How can we make UNLV more sustainable, which of course was not a word that was being used back then, but more environmental, more green. And um, I actually started in 91, trying to get UNLV to start a recycling program. And that's when the thesis idea came about. I think I was a sophomore and I found out that I had to do an undergraduate senior thesis capstone project. And I decided to work on what it would take to start recycling at UNLV. And, I started doing waste audits where I would empty the contents of a dumpster and sort through it and weigh everything, trying to get an idea of what's in our dumpsters. I did a lot of surveys asking faculty, staff, students what they thought about recycling. Of course, there wasn't the internet then. And so I called a lot of schools across the country asking them, like, what do they do for recycling? How do they fund it? How do they staff it? What materials do they collect? What are some of their challenges? And so, at the end, when I got that all done in 94, my hero, Dr. James Deacon, and another hero, Dr. Ron Smith, both helped me get on the Board of Regents agenda to propose the idea of starting Rebel Recycling. And so I was on the agenda in February 1995, and they voted yes. And so the recycling program started July 1st, 1995. And at first it started with Silver State um, collecting the recyclables. Um, but that program kind of couldn't capture all the recycling that UNLV was generating. And so I started trying to look at ways that we could capture more. And then in the end, in March of 97 is when I started collecting it, processing it myself.
My gosh.
Yeah, and that
I
is when it kind of blew up and started, kind of the rock started rolling downhill. So it was a big struggle in the beginning.
Oh, it had to be because there was no playbook for recycling, really. We had those red, white, and blue bins, right, in the neighborhoods, and
Hmm.
it was Silver State. Since it's become Republic Services, who's our big, recycling company here. But I remember the struggling with those red, white, and blue bins, and I was like, and trying to help build the awareness within the community because I was doing Living Green, and I felt like I was trying to teach people how to recycle. And some people were very insulted. They didn't want me teaching them how to recycle. They either didn't want to do it, didn't believe in it, or they already knew how to do it. And so, but talk about it because, again, you had to gather support from students, from faculty, from administration. You had to get funding. I mean, you were in there sorting and doing all this by hand. You had to develop a a s you didn't develop a staff. I mean, did you get students together to help you? How did you build this as you were heading towards the 21st century?
Yeah, it was definitely kind of cobbling it together, but yeah, I hired work study students, which is a federal grant program that helps kind of cover the cost of student labor. So I had student workers. I had the hotel college gets a lot of props for helping out the recycling program in the beginning, the UNLV College of Hotel, because without them sending students over to help me, I don't know if I could have got it all done. Um, I had help from we started getting court ordered community service people to come
Wow.
in and help. Yeah, which we still have today. We still have community service people coming and helping. But I think what people don't understand is back then we didn't have a material recovery facility. So there wasn't the high tech sorting of materials that was happening now that back then we had to hand sort everything. So we had a double wide trailer and we had big tables pushed together, and we would dump all everything we collected from the campus on that table, and then we would have to sort it into the different categories. So white paper, paper with color on it, newspaper. Then another category was like, the ream wrap, that paper, your printer paper comes in. That had to be separated with cereal box material. That had to be its own category. You had to have soft books, hard books, telephone books. We had to have a bin next to us for bottles and cans, or bottles, because you had to keep your bottles separate, your cans separate. Everything had to be separated for me to be able to find a vendor to take it. And yeah, so it was it was every day just trying to keep in with the influx of material coming in from the campus. And then in October 1998, we set up the drive up and drop off program. And that was for the community that lived in apartments and condominiums that didn't have access to the red, white, and blue crates, right? They didn't have red, white, and blue crates, so they couldn't even recycle. And then, of course, with the red, white, and blue crates, as you recall, it was picked up every other week. So only
Right.
2 times a month. So if you missed that first week of the first time of the month, now you have so much stuff because now you got a month of stuff. You would see lots of people putting the red, white, and blue crates into their cars, bringing them to the drive up and drop off. So we also had to sort that, right? So it was every day. We would have 20, 30, 40 people hand sorting through the recycling.
Ooh,
I
that's
know.
gritty. That is so not glamorous in any way,
No,
shape, or form.
not glamorous.
And at this time, you were actually dating and trying to have a social life. What was it that you said about your dating life that the potential date had to have what?
The potential date had to come and help when help was required. And I liked guys with trucks, right? Because I recall one night, me and this one of my he was my boyfriend. His name was Brian. Brian and I are out having fun at the bars and the clubs, and then I was like, "Oh, it's move-in time. You got to come help me get all the cardboard collected and dropped off at the recycling center before we can go home." So we're
Move
in
in for the campus, right? Move
for
in
the
time for
campus.
college.
Right. So the students are moving into the residence hall. So this is August. So they're moving into the residence halls, and of course, everything they bring and then go out and buy comes in a cardboard box. So we set up extra dumpsters over there to collect all the cardboard. And I was like, oh my gosh, I have to get up and do this in a little while. But we're like, just it's already the morning. So before we go home, we got to go collect the cardboard. So we were actually in our like going out clothes, picking up all the cardboard, taking it to the recycling center, and then when that was done, I was like, "Okay, now we can go home and go to bed," you know? So, it's I had to do what I had to do to keep it going, because
Yeah.
if you let it pile up, now you have a bigger problem, and you have people mad at you, who might want you to stop, right? Um,
Uh-huh.
and so there's always that balance of making sure that the customers and clients are happy, so that they feel like recycling is convenient, right? Because a lot of people don't recycle because they think recycling is not convenient. And so I was
Right.
always making sure that we were on top of our pickups. And back then, nothing was digitalized, so everything was printed, and so we had so much more paper to collect, so much more paper generation, manuals. I remember one time, the this we collected, like, I don't know, 6 cubic yards of, which is two dumpster fulls of manuals from the System Computing Center.
Gosh.
Back then, telephone books, right? Every July, the new telephone books came out, and so
I was
we
gonna
were
ask you, telephone books? I don't even remember I can barely remember telephone books.
Well, and so every July we had, 6,000 new telephone books would come to the campus, a white and a yellow pages, and we
Yellow.
would have to
Mhm.
go and collect the old ones. And so it was just tons of telephone books. And of course, we don't have telephone books anymore. And with the digitalization of everything, there we are collecting less paper from the campus. Um, Same amount of cardboard, same amount of food waste. We started food waste in May of 2009. Um, and Yeah, it just every single time I think back to those days, I am appreciative now that we have this great material recovery facility in North Las Vegas where we can send all of our stuff to them commingled, and then they sort it. We don't have to, do that like we used to. We still have to sort
Yeah.
something, but we don't have
Well,
to do it like we used to.
yeah, because the 2000s, when you finally got your, you were forced in fast growth mode, right? With the automation. Finally, when you got the equipment and the machinery
Mhm.
that helped you sort and bale because you were doing all that by hand, um, that really pushed you ahead. Like that was a huge leap for you, right? Once you got into the 2000s, and then the program with the automated equipment, your move in, your move out, you were saving so much waste because tons of waste when kids left school, they were just dumping refrigerators and furniture and all that kind of stuff, those mini fridges and fans, you name it. So you've really developed programs to help recover that, reuse, resell, and keep all that from going into the landfill.
Yep.
I mean, it's absolutely amazing what you've done, not only on campus, even your hydration stations. I mean, people now, they've got their hydro flasks. Nobody wants to really go buy water bottles unless they have to, those single use plastic bottles. So you even got that, the hydration stations installed on campus. That was a fight.
It
Was that was that one of your biggest victories?
was a victory for sure. I probably spent about 4 years just harassing the director of facilities management and the plumbing shop. I would send them every time I saw a video about another school talking about their hydration stations, and they would make cute like promotional videos, or if I saw anything about it, I would send it to them. And then every time I saw them, I would be like, hey, what do you think about a hydration station? We should get one. We should see if the students like it. And then I remember reading about UNR getting one in their student union. And I went immediately over and I said, okay, UNR has now beaten us in something and we need to get one. And they just would kind of like, oh yeah, 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 yeah. And then one day the plumbing shop called me and they said, "Hey, you know that the hydration station you keep bugging us about?" And I was like, "Yeah." They said, "We put one in by Beam Hall 119." And I said, "You did?" And he said, "Yeah." And I said, I'm going over there right now." So I went over and I looked at it, and there was a line. And so I started asking students, what do you think about this? Should we have more? And I started doing surveys and talking to people about it. And then the plumbing shop called me, I don't know, 2 days later, and they were like, "That hydration station, there's always a line. There's never not a line." And I said, "I know, I told you that students want these." And now we have over 100. And then
Gosh.
every new building has them. And anytime they remodel a bathroom that doesn't have one, they put one in. And yeah, it is a big success. But yeah, it took me, I want like 4 years of just kind of not consistent
Gosh.
harassment, but kind of harassing them.
That's amazing. That's wonderful. I mean, we don't have time to talk about all of the amazing journey and the victories of this, but you really taught yourself how to do budgets, how to do proposals, how to do, you mean you became the sustainability coordinator for UNLV. Was that what you were looking for when you put in that thesis in 1995? Did you have any idea how this would grow not only for UNLV, but for the community at large, and the legs and the reach that it would have and how it would take off? How do you feel now 30 years later?
I did not think that it would do what it's done. I definitely did. I didn't set out to be a sustainability coordinator or a recycling manager. I wanted to be a wolf biologist. But so I I
Okay.
definitely I definitely was not trying to do that. And back then I was having to take it one day at a time because it was chaos. It was organized chaos. Um and then the sustainability coordinator part was added in 2008, 2009 time period, when the president at the time signed the American College and University President's Commitment to Climate Change. Um, they they just said, "Hey, Tara, now you're the sustainability coordinator too." And I was like, "Oh, okay." And so it was kind of funny because they would be like, "Well, what are you working on for sustainability?" And I would mention all recycling things, right? Waste reduction and composting and that. And they're like, "Oh, yeah, yeah, we know you're doing that. What about the other sustainability stuff?" And so it did take me a little bit of time to like switch gears and think about other ways that UNLV needs to be sustainable. And we just launched our climate action plan last year, something I've been trying to get since like 2009. So um,
Oh,
I would say one of the things about me is I'm very stubborn and I'm very persistent. And so I think that has helped me get um, things done. Not as fast as I would like. Nothing's happening as fast as I would like. Like I can't name you one thing that has happened fast. But it's the persistence that I think matters. But
you
yeah, I
had to,
never knew that I didn't
it
know I
had
was
to
going to end up
test your
here.
tenacity, right? I mean, you were tested over and over and over again. Did you ever feel like it wasn't going to work? Was there a time when you said, "Oh man, I don't know if I can do this anymore"?
Thousands of times, thousands. I
Really?
probably wanted to quit more than 1,000 times. I could tell you some stories where I mean, just I would sit down on campus in the beginning and just cry tears, just of frustration. But yeah, I've wanted to quit 2,000 times probably. I remember one time I was sick. I was very sick, but I had to come to work because if I didn't, we would fall too far behind. And so I remember I threw up. I threw up on campus and I just sat down and I just started to cry. I was just like, what am I
Mm.
doing? There was another time where I was hauling paper myself and the wind took the barrel and knocked it down and the paper was going down the sidewalk and it was getting stuck in the Xeriscape, and I just sat down and started to cry. I just was like, what am I doing? Why am I doing this? But like I said, I'm very stubborn. and I have like a very big sense of responsibility. And so I kept telling myself, this is something that you're trying to do. You have to work through this and you just have to keep persisting. And so I think, that's helped me out a lot.
Well, and thank goodness for that persistence too, because I think what the public doesn't realize is that you've helped the community, not just UNLV, but you've helped the community not with your drive up and drop off, but also you were very instrumental in working with the municipalities in getting the large bins to replace those old red, white, and blue
Mm.
bins and getting recycling picked up every week along with the garbage. So our totes that we wheel out to the curbside now and weekly pickup, you were part of that, and you were very instrumental in helping get those test runs going in different neighborhoods and zip codes. And the community really owes you a big thank you for your persistence and not giving up and not quitting because we're all so much better off for it. I know there's still a lot of resistance and there are still a lot of doubters and naysayers that we're really not recycling everything we put in there and that it's a waste of time. And I'm sorry for that because I think people still need to learn how to recycle. There's still a big awareness about doing it correctly. So thank you for that. We need to talk about what's ahead, but let's get caught up on your family. So you did find somebody who wanted to marry a sustainability gal
Yeah.
and you have a son. So tell us quickly about your son. He's already in college.
He is in college. And that time when we were working on the single stream process, I was pregnant. So he's 18. So that was 18 years ago. Yep.
Wow.
Yeah, I was pregnant when I gave the presentation to the Clark County Commission, and he is in college at UNLV. He wants to be a nuclear engineer. He thinks the way to fix climate change is nuclear power. And it's funny because when I was a student at UNLV, I worked for Citizen Alert. I don't know if you remember Citizen Alert, but it was a environmental watchdog group, and we our main thing was to fight against Yucca Mountain. And so it's pretty
Ah,
funny that I was kind of like an anti-nuclear activist in college, and now I have a college kid who fully believes that nuclear power is going to be the answer. So
change our energy crisis and
that's
needs. Yeah.
right. And maybe,
Wow.
or maybe it is. And
Maybe.
then, yep, I've been married for 21 years. Um, and he
Congratulations.
still
Yeah.
has to come over and help at the recycling centers.
But it's not Brian, it's somebody else, right?
It's Nick. His name is Nick.
Nick, all right. Well, and we coordinated for quite a number of years on the Channel 8 Super Saturday Recycle event. So we had a chance to work together as well. And so much stuff we could talk about. I wish we had an hour because this could go on and on. You know that recycling's near and dear to my heart. And also, you're recycling Christmas trees and recycling pumpkins, jack o' lanterns after and you do that with the public. So that's something else that you're very involved in. But let's talk about what's ahead. You're still growing. There's still more to do. You said your job is not done. And you've got a public fundraising campaign. Tell us about that.
Yeah, so we have it's called Rebel, it's through Rebel Raisers. And we're just trying to raise money. We started a program called All in the Hall, and that increased recycling on the student side, and that's something that we're lacking as abilities for students to recycle. And so yeah, we're trying to raise money to get more bins for the next building. We're thinking the AEB building, and but bins are expensive. I don't know if people know how expensive recycling bins are, but they're very expensive. And so yeah, we're just trying to raise money to do more all in the hall in different buildings.
But you're also wanting to collect data on what still goes into the landfill. You've got data on what you've saved and what you've recycled, but you say the missing piece, the missing link is what is still getting into the landfill, the unrecaptured waste?
Yeah, yeah. We at UNLV, because Republic is like a service-based contract, we have no idea what's being landfilled, right? Because and we don't know the weight of it. So that is a big project I'm working on is trying to get a weight on the material that's being landfilled so that we know our diversion rate. We can't calculate a diversion rate for UNLV without the weight of the landfill material. And then of course trying to make sure that everything that's in landfill is doesn't have a way to be recycled, used, or reduced. And I
Okay.
would like to see UNLV become a zero waste campus. So zero waste is where 90% of what is generated by the campus is sent to composting, or recycling, or reduction, or reuse, and only 10% goes to the land. So that is my ultimate goal for UNLV.
That's great, and that's a great goal. That's fantastic. Where can people find more about find out more about the program, and also if they want to donate and find out more about Rebel Recycling?
I would go to the UNLV website and go to Rebel Recycling, and it's all on there.
Okay. All on there. Okay, great. That's fantastic. It's great talking to you. Happy 30 years. And it's been a great friendship when we've had opportunities to coordinate and be together. And hey, I just want to put in a little note too. If you really wanted to be a wolf biologist, you know, the wolf pack up north. Okay, never mind, never mind.
No wolf cat
I'm just
Rebels
kidding.
all the way.
Okay.
We kept the cannon. We have the cannon, the Fremont Cannon
Okay.
stayed in Las Vegas.
Just saying, just saying. Okay. Tara Pike, Sustainability Coordinator and Recycling Manager, whether you wanted the title or not for UNLV. Congratulations. Happy holidays. I've recycled all of my cardboard boxes, by the way.
Yes.
Still working on that gift wrap challenge, though, and recycling the gift wrap. Ooh, that's a tough one. The bows and the ribbon. We'll get there
Well,
someday, right?
reuse. Reuse.
Reuse. I reuse all my bows and
Yeah.
bags. Ask my family ad nauseum. It's really sickening, but I
I'm
do.
the
All right.
same.
I'm the
Ad
same.
nauseam.
All right. Props to you, my friend. You've done great things in this community. So congratulations.
Thank you so much. It was
All
great
right.
talking to you.
Great
And people
talking to
still
you.
ask me about Super Saturday. They want Super Saturday back. I'm telling you what, like people all the time,
Please,
all the
please, let's
time.
bring it back. Let's find a way. Let's find a way. All right. Happy holidays. Happy
Yeah.
2026.
Thank you. You too.
Take care.